This video is sponsored by the Foggy Dew, Dublin's legendary pub, located beside the Central Bank and Temple Bar. Come in for great nights, pints and supporting metal. Shout out to our other sponsor, Helio Gas Detection. Hey everyone, this is Letty from the Smash and Skull Sessions. I'm joined by Raegan from Leisure Hour. Raegan, how you doing?
Doing great. Thank you so much. I'm
Of
excited to
course.
be here, excited to chat about some stuff.
Well, I'm excited as well because I'll touch it upon later in the interview, but you guys were my third most listened to song in my Spotify Wrapped last year.
Last year, okay, that's awesome. Thank you for listening so much. It's been like a huge year for the band. And so I'm just really kind of super excited to get this moment to be able to talk to you, especially, and just like knowing that there are people. We're from Indiana. It's a small state in the United States. So like being able to know that there are people around the world at this point connecting with our music and listening and enjoying has just been like such a privilege and honor to like get to live and experience. So thank you for listening and anybody else who's listening to us.
Of course, no worries. And I discovered you guys in July as well, so I must have been spamming the heck out of your Spotify.
You were putting in work. You were putting in work for that number. You put in the time for that third slot. So thank you.
You're more than welcome. So, to the listeners who maybe haven't heard of you guys before, could you introduce yourself and your role in the band?
Yeah, so like Letty was saying, my name is Raegan. My pronouns are she, they, and I play drums and I sing in the band.
Drummer and a singer, that's a hard thing to do. How do you balance it?
Yeah, so like before I joined Leisure Hour, I was in like the metalcore scene and doing different stuff like that. And so like singing and drumming kind of started then for me. We were needing a clean vocalist and we're not able to get a clean vocalist. And I knew that I had the ability to sing a little bit enough at least. And I was like, you know what, I'll try this out. But being able, that kind of built my chops up for that. Because if you listen to metalcore music, I mean, the drumming is very technical, even any metal, but like specifically that subgenre of metal is very technical. And so I really was like, oh my God, I don't know if I can sing and play this stuff at the same time. And that kind of really started my trajectory. And then, in our past old Leisure Hour stuff, I was primarily, if you listen to our record, The Sunny Side, and our EP that we dropped, I was doing a lot of like harmonies and like in studio stuff that I would sometimes sing and sometimes not. And then I learned how to play guitar within the last year, and I wanted to start writing songs for the band. And so that's kind of the transition from me singing and playing the drums. And I think because I've been a drummer for well over a decade, I think if I wasn't as confident and comfortable in my instrument, I would not be able to sing and play the drums at the same time. Because, I can, now it's just we play drums so long and we play so many shows, even if you want to narrow it down to that, like, I'm so just like, boom, we get on and it's just clockwork. Like it's like a well-oiled machine for me. I don't have to think about anything. The only thing I think about is like having the most fun. And I felt like if I didn't get there and we didn't get there as a band, it definitely would have been a lot harder for me to kind of get into that transition. And it's something still that I'm working on. Like I again, in my old band, I was singing like a chorus or a hook. Now I'm singing full songs. Like, so it is definitely a whole different transition. But definitely just trying not to get in my brain too much and think, because there's a lot of moving parts to our set. If you've ever seen us live or seen any videos online, like there's just a lot of things going on. So it's just like kind of staying level headed and clear in what I'm doing so that I don't, but I mess up words sometimes. I get to, it happens. We're humans, it happens. And I try to give myself grace because I'm like every limb that I'm using possibly is all being used simultaneously at the same time. So it definitely is it's a little difficult, but it's a lot of fun. I like the challenge for sure.
I mean, I have checked out some of the live shows online. I haven't traveled to Indiana or in America yet.
Yeah.
But lots of you guys are multi-instrumental. Like your bassist plays the trumpet as well.
Yes, yes. Grace and I were marching band nerds growing up. And so we didn't go to the same school together, but our schools competed against each other. And it's fun. Like that stuff is so fun because it's like, I'm sure she never thought she was going to pick that trumpet up again. And then we're like, hey, this song would be cool if you can play the trumpet. And so it's like little stuff like that where it's like, I think every node in our lives has led us up to these moments and to this moment and being together as a band and forming the community we are. And it's just little stuff as Grace picking up a trumpet, like not knowing a decade later she'd be playing trumpet for people in a band and like doing that. And it's so cool to have those full circle moments happen, you know. And I think you see that a lot in this world of music. It's a lot of full circle moments.
Oh yeah. And is that how the band started? You and Grace competing against each other and just finding out that you
So
have similar taste?
yeah, so the band actually started technically 5 years ago. And they had an older drummer. It was right like after COVID. So our scene that we were in kind of died. And there was like three bands slash artists left. And Leisure Hour was one of them. And then I was in a group with my roommates. We were doing like hip hop music, but we had like a full band aspect to it. And so I was gigging with Leisure Hour without me being in Leisure Hour. And I just loved their songwriting then. And I just like thought Grace and Isaiah were cool. And we all met at least I met them through college. Grace and Isaiah have known each other a little bit longer because they're from the same town. But um, we, I remember just messaging Isaiah, just like being friends with them over that summer, just kind of like playing shows and, you know, wanting to be a part of your scene and wanting to support the bands in your scene. And we were the scene. So it was just like, hey, we got to stick together. Like, we got to try to build the scene back up. And I just messaged him and I was like, yo, if you need a fill in drummer ever, like if your drummer can't show up, I'd love to play with you guys type of deal. Maybe 3 weeks later, Isaiah's like, yo, we're going to play our first show out of state in Ohio, in Columbus. It's like, we can't make it. Can you play with us? And I was like, oh my God, yes. I was so excited. I was so excited. Like the drummer in me, the musician, I was like, oh my God, I can't wait to play these songs and like add my own little thing to it. And we did that show and we played together and we spent the night together, slept on the floor together, like, and just kind of like, it was kind of a perfect picture of what was going to happen over the latter years, sleeping on people's floors, you know, hanging out, like playing a gig. And little did we know that's what it was going to be, but we all felt that there was something special with the three of us playing together. And I remember telling my partner at the time, like, how sad I was after that was over, because I was like, wow, that was just me filling in. Like, that's not reality. Like, I had to still be rooted in reality, and that wasn't reality. Like, they had another drummer. And then sure enough, like 2 weeks later, they asked to come over my house, since we all lived in the college town together in Muncie. And like, they came over and asked me if I wanted to be in the band, and the rest was history. And, you know, I was so like, I was just devastated. I think about that. I was like devastated. I was like, God, if I could just be the drummer in this band, like we would go so hard. And like, I really feel like we all in a way, like we're manifesting that for each other and for us to be able to play music together. And like 4 years later, I still feel that same feeling every time I'm on stage with them. Like it's no better feeling than I've ever had, for sure.
That's class. That's absolutely class. And you guys are gearing up for the release of your album. And to think, how was the recording process for it?
So this is the first time, this is the first interview, like literally, that we're even talking about all of this. So
Okay.
I'm really excited to share just kind of where our process and our idea for everything was. So we dropped the Sunny Side, and you know, if you look at our history, we are constantly on tour, like constantly on tour and on the road and hitting that. We dropped that record We raised half of the record by throwing DIY shows in my backyard as fundraisers. So we brought our whole community together to help get these small kids from Indiana out to New Jersey to record our first record. And our moms were helping us sell hot dogs and all types of stuff. It was awesome. And we did that, and we toured relentlessly. I mean, just relentless, nonstop, every month, just going hard and hard and hard. But we didn't necessarily get the results that we were wanting out of all the work. Like, not that we would take any of that back, because I think, we're definitely a band that believes everything happens for a reason, and everybody's path is also going to look completely different. And very grateful for the path that we're on, because I really feel like it gave us tough skin. And it you drive 8 hours to play in front of two people a bunch of times, like, that'll build thick skin, and that'll show you if you really want to do this. And so we did that. And, I think we just kind of came to a realization that we were like, we need to focus on our songwriting and try to grow and strengthen that as a band. Now that we've put in the groundwork to become a good live band by playing that many shows, like, now it's time to put that work to a pen and paper and see what we can come. Isaiah writes Jenny blows up, absolutely blows up. And then that's around the time where I'm like starting to pick up a guitar. I write Ode to Muncie, boom, that blows up. And then we just kind of started having these patterns and these plans, and we're like, wow, we're just releasing music and writing it and just trying to really authentically show who we are and our experiences to other people. And through that, we were finally like, I feel like these songs in this time and journey as a band needs to be on record, because it was really a journey that we went through to get to that point of deciding it. And it's like, it would be a shame if Jenny wasn't on the record. And like, this era of us as a band was something so meaningful and beneficial to us. And like, yeah, we took a risk by releasing a lot of those songs. We didn't even know we were going to even put out a record. The goal was just to write music and get people to pay attention, and see if that would help. And, it did. And it did a lot faster than we thought it was going to. And we were like, okay, people really resonated with these songs, and it deserves to be on a physical media of some sort. And that was it's kind of the most beautiful thing for us. This record means a lot to me, because, and all of us, honestly, because of that. And because of, like, I feel like we're really on a page right now where we're really starting to discover the band and what that looks like, and how to move forward in the era that we are. Because I don't think who we are as a band right now is not going to be the same as who we are as a band in 5 years. But it's so nice that we can put this in the media and like be able to look back and be like, this is who we were here, and we're so proud of that. And we were just so happy to share that journey with everybody and watch our whole baddie family grow, like, insanely. I still like cannot describe how awesome it's been to just have so many people love things that, like, I know came from our heart and like came from something and came from a place that was so special that we wanted to share. So yeah, that's kind of how it was. And we were just touring and recording. So in between all of those tours, we were recording these songs. So we had a pretty busy year last year. If we were not on tour, we were in the studio, recording everything. So
awesome. Sounds like you had a busy year anyway. And I want to give a special shout out to the album cover. It's joining the Midwest emo family of the House albums such as American Football and Charmer. Just wanted to give a special shout out to that.
Had to. I was like, we can't be an emo band without a classic house shot,
You had to do it. And I respect you so much for doing it. Like, it's one of my favorite memes in like the emo community.
Yeah, and I think it's one of those things too where, at least for me, like, the picture was taken in Muncie where we're from, and like, again, we're all about giving back to not forgetting where we're from, like, and it's just like, we're not like, we come from Indiana, and I'm outside of the politics and that dumb shit. I am very happy to be able to wear my community and for us to be able to wear our community on our sleeves and be bold and loud and proud about that. Like, and be like, look, if we're small town kids from a state that kind of sucks, but we still trying to make it, like there's no excuse for anybody to not, go after their dreams and chase it. And I think like that message alone is super powerful, because when you come from these smaller places and you don't really, and you have big dreams and you're a big dreamer and you don't really know where to start and you don't think that it's possible. And like, I'm literally living in the proof that it is. It's like, it is possible. It's just about, we're always going to stay true to our roots. And I think that was just a nice little nod, not only to Midwest emo as a genre, like you said, American football. Like we visited the American football house. All right, that house looks dang near just like it. Like it looks just like it's giving the same vibe. So it's like I love that. I absolutely love that, and I love that it's shot in Muncie, and I love that it's a way to give back to our community and then also give back to the greater overall DIY Midwest emo community as well.
And it's another full circle moment, as you mentioned earlier.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. It is a full circle. Our community allowed us to record our first record, which allowed us to get our first vinyl out, which allowed us to tour, which allowed us to do, and everything's just a spit, but it all still circles back to our community. And that's why we try to be, I deal with the same struggles everybody, like we all deal with it. We work dead end jobs, like, I won't say they hate it. I hate mine. But, we work jobs that we hate. And like, we're just doing it because we love it. And we see, we have a vision and a goal together. And we have a vision and a goal of what we want our community to look like and feel like. And we want people to feel just as special as music makes us feel. And hopefully, our music can make them feel that too.
Awesome. And if you could collaborate with any musician, dead or alive, who would it be? And it doesn't have to be for Leisure Hour.
For me, I would love to collaborate with the Temptations. They're like I love Motown music. That's like my go-to. And to me, they're the GOATs. Like without them, you don't get the Jackson 5. You don't get Alt Boyz II Men. You don't have any of these people. And they're still a band technically. A lot of the original members have died, but like, they're still kicking 60 plus years later. And I know how hard it is. Bands can barely stay together for 2 years now, let alone 6 decades. Like that takes some tenacity and some grit for that. And I would just love to be in an environment, not only where I respect the music, but Black music in particular, just seeing so many if I could just go to that time period, like, and just watch them work, I feel like, and be a part of that, sit and be a session drummer. I don't even care. I'd play tambourine. I would not care. Anything. I sing some background vocals. I don't care. It can be the smallest level of collaboration, but I just feel like I would soak in so much just from the energy alone that they were able to encapsulate. And you can feel it through those records of those eras for sure. You can feel the soul. You can feel that there. And I think that's another reason why people like emo music. There's a part of that where it's like you really can feel what this person is trying to tell you, and you can feel it even if it's not like so upfront and brutally honest vocally. Like for me, I love like I'm a musician. I love that I can hear it musically. I'm like, oh, like I hear things and the way the song ebbs and flows, and like I think that's what gets people in, because there's just something about the rawness and realness of it, that I think we are desperately in a place where people need that. And I think that's why the genre is honestly in one of the best spots I say this to newer bands all the time. There's no better time to be making emo music than now. Look at the world, look at what's going on. People are upset and sad and got a lot of things to say. I'm sure there's a lot of things people need to say and want to say and get off their chest. So there's no better time to be making that kind of music, to let it out. And there's going to be people that agree with you because, yeah, the world's crazy. And I think it's nice to be able to find avenues to speak on it. And that's some of the best music is written through struggle. whether it's personal or somebody else's. And so I think it's great to be in that genre. And I think just correlating with Motown, I would love for that because they were going through the same struggles and producing some of the best music, racial struggles, like so many different obstacles that they had to overcome. And they're still doing it. And I just would love to just like pick their brain for sure.
That's fair. I mean, speaking of emo music, and there's no better time to be doing it. I think this is probably the biggest the genre's ever been since the Black Parade. That might be a controversial statement, but I think it's at its peak right now. It's amazing.
I think it is beautiful to watch. Like it is absent. I mean, I don't think that's too crazy of a statement. I think like more and more emo bands are just becoming they're breaking that glass ceiling that people would have. I feel like a lot of it like it's hard to get to the glass ceiling. But now there's bands like Hot Mulligan and just like these bigger bands who are actively all the time raising that ceiling for us and paving the way for people to take the scene and the genre even higher than what it could have ever been. Like playing stadium level tours is insane. Like, you know, bands like Turnstile, I mean, just heavy emo music in general. There are so many artists really, really just cracking that ceiling and being like, there is no ceiling here. We set the standard. You can get here. Like, and that is so cool to see because I think that's the scary part when you play a genre that isn't so quote unquote easily accessible. Quote unquote, I say that quote unquote. Like my mom's not listening to no emo music, but like you know what I mean. Like she's not listening to that, but it's cool to see that ceiling. Your ceiling is what you make it of it, and we're getting more and more bands proving that. Your ceiling is what you want it to be. If you want to stop here, cool, stop here. But just know you could go 12 more notches up if you wanted to.
I mean, it's funny that you mentioned Hot Mulligan. I saw them. They came over to Ireland for the first time on their tour with Pierce the Veil, and I went 90% just for Hot Mulligan. That's how much
Yeah.
of a Hot Mulligan fan I am. And they're coming over again in March. Got my tickets for that. Absolutely cannot wait. But it was mad because I was quite disappointed because they only got about a half an hour set.
Because they were the opener.
They were, what's it, the second band on? Cave Town were on before Pierce the Veil, and Cave Town brought quite a lot of people to the gig. I'd never listened to him before.
Yeah.
Yes, but Hot Mulligan, total win.
Yeah. Yeah, they're awesome. They are so awesome. I love it. I mean, I really think they're not only that, but they do pay attention to, you know, the up and growing scene and the bands in those scenes too. Like, you know, Ho Ho Hot Mulligan that they do over here, inviting like I have friends who have played that, and that is cool to me. Like, that's so cool. Or them just doing like, you know, being the headliner in some of these bigger DIY emo festivals and like doing stuff like that. It's like they don't have to do that. Technically, they don't have to do that, but they seem to be guys and people who like their whole crew, like they just seem to be people who want to still invest into the scene that was able to help get them where they are now. And honestly, I just respect that. I respect anybody who still wants to take the good that they've gotten and do more good, you know. And that's what it really feels like with them. And now they're taking like Saturdays and some other bands over on you guys' neck of the woods, which is cool. Like that's so cool. And it's awesome to see them pouring back into the scene and not forgetting about that. And I really know that, like, I hope if we get to a level like that, that we can, I know if we get to a level like that, we will be a band that is grounded in that. Cause you have to still supply, it's a supply and demand thing a little bit. Like you still have to be, yeah, you've got this, you know, you could be the biggest emo band, Hot Mulligan size, you know, you could be that big, but like everybody's career also still has a timeline on it. And it's like, what are we doing so that other people can do this too and achieve that? And I love that those cats do that for sure.
Fair enough. And we touched upon it earlier. Your song Jenny was my third most listened to track of my Spotify Wrapped in 2025. Absolute banger. Love the song so much. How did you write it?
Yeah, so Isaiah wrote that, and like I said, he wrote the song, put it on TikTok, blew up on TikTok. And he had like a lot of the lyric and the structure down. And then we kind of took it to the studio where we collaborated on like well, obviously I came up with the drum parts and did that stuff and wrote all the drums out for it. But with our producer Gary Sione, like we really break apart the songs to try to make them as good as possible. And so it was a very much like, oh, okay, here's these things. Because I think a lot of cool things, one of my favorite things about music is texture, which is little things that you might not be able to necessarily pick up first glance or first listen through, but it's there. It's there to add emotion and tone and just little things like that. And Gary is awesome at that. Gary's recorded some of the Hot Mulligan stuff too. And he's just like being able to work with a producer who we can, an engineer who we can trust with it. Because when you're bringing somebody your music, like that's your child almost. It's like, here's my most vulnerable thing that I'm literally handing over to you in hopes that it comes across the way it sounds in my brain. And that is a very scary thing if you don't know the person or don't trust them or, you know, whatever might be stopping that mental block from you being able to like fully sink into the experience. But we've been working with Gary and Sione and Steve Crino for a minute now. And just like the fact, I feel like we are both simultaneously pushing each other to grow. So it's like each time it's just getting better and better. And that's how a lot of the songwriting really goes. I guess segueing into that a little bit, like when it comes down to my songs, like I'll rough them out on guitar, songs that I sing on. So like Ode to Muncie was the first song I ever wrote. And, you know, I played on guitar, and then our rule of thumb is if it sounds good with just you and an acoustic guitar, probably going to be a banger song. If it sounds good and you can just play it on acoustic and people are like, that is fire. When you hook up some electric guitars and you add the drums and you add all of that, probably going to be a fire song. And so we start there. It just, I mean, for me and Isaiah, it literally starts with 9 times out of 10 an acoustic guitar or my electric guitar that I don't have an amp for, and I'm just over here just strumming on it if I want to tap or something, you know, like, and then we kind of build off of that just through each other. But it's also kind of weird because we do write separately, and so there's never an instance where we're at a practice and Isaiah's like, okay, like for Jenny, there wasn't any instance where we were at practice. Isaiah's like, here's Jenny, let's work through it. That never happens. And a lot of the time it's because we're always on tour and we just like don't have the time to do that, to be honest, between everything. So it's really just like sending stuff back and forth. What do you think about this? What do you think? I like this. Let's add this. Oh, I think if we added a tambourine here, it'd be cool. Or how about the drums go like this? Or we switch it up. And then the studio is really where we just like chains are broken, you know, like everything, shackles are off, and we're just like diving into it and really breaking the song down, and then trying to build up from there.
Yeah, no, Jenny introduced me to your guys, which brought me to Rent Due, which made me follow you on Spotify. So I was there for the release of Happy Birthday and Jobs, and I'm really looking forward to the album release.
Yes, and Happy Birthday. I mean, because my favorite songs, honestly, to sing are when all three of us are singing. Like those are my favorite songs because I think that is in and of itself an essence of who we are. It's a little bit, and we all like, I mean, when we're in the van and stuff, we're listening to like pop music and rap and EDM and all. I'm the driver, so I pick everything almost. But you know, that's what we're listening to. Like we like to listen to a bunch of different stuff, but we still like are in that perfect medium. Like our music taste is just in that perfect medium together. And I think like it's really cool to see that all come across music wise, especially like when I tell people we write separately, people are typically kind of blown away because it does still sound, I mean, obviously my voice sounds different than Isaiah's, which sounds different than Grace's, but sonic wise, we still make it feel like a leisure hour song. And, you know, obviously we've been talking like in the future, like what we want to do as far as like, because I think there will be an era of leisure hour where we sit in a room together and write music together. But as of now, like we just kind of we're still trying to figure out our sound and what this band looks like. Like, and I think we're also trying to grow as songwriters individually. And I think once we all can get to that level that we want to be at, once we do start collaborating more in that sense, like it'll be something very special.
Awesome. And remind me again, when is To Think of It out again? I have it in my head the 29th.
The 30th, I'm
The
pretty sure.
30th.
Hey, I'm gonna be look, let me fact check myself real quick because that'd be crazy if I was wrong.
Yeah, I had it wrong as well,
Okay,
so
it's the 30th. It is the 30th.
perfect. And just to talk about more about Jenny, the accompanying music video is brilliantly made. How long did it take to make the music video? Because it's all animated.
Yeah, so that was actually a spitball idea that I had kind of brought to the band. I was like, it'd be cool to do like an animated video. I just thought like, especially that song hits so deep. I was like, I don't know how we can get physical people. Literally, like my thought process, I don't know how we can get physical people to portray it like this and make it feel as deep. And so I reached out to our friends at the Summit Shack, who we had met. They host a festival called Coachella, and they just do a lot of cool stuff for the underground DIY community. And we hit them up and we were like, hey, I heard y'all did some anime. I heard y'all got an animation team. Like, what can we get going? And I mean, that process was awesome. It was awesome. Like, it's awesome seeing myself in a character. I love cartoons. I like stuff like that. I'm a big kid at heart. And so it was cool of them being like, send us some photos of some outfits you'd wear on tour and like what your van looks like and like who's doing what. And then to see it in character form like that, I was like, you guys are like awesome. And it took, if I'm remembering correctly, Matt and them, don't get mad at me if I get this wrong, but I'm pretty sure it took about a month to do. And they were working on that pretty much every day. I know that for a fact. And we were having some weekly meetings, just catching up and them showing us their progress. And like to watch it go from a sketch to the video it is now, it's like that's one of, not to be biased, that is one of the best videos I've ever seen in my life. Like music videos. I think they perfectly captured exactly what we wanted and how we wanted that to come across. And it's just heartbreaking. Like, it's just like, I want to cry when I see that video. I can't even play that song outside of playing it in our set because I'm like, that is too, I'm like, I don't know how you baddies are listening to that song because I would be in shambles every day. Just boo crying. It's in shambles.
I mean, you hit right the nail on the head. Like the team perfectly captured the mood of the song. Kudos to the guys at Summit Shack.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, so kudos to the guys. Excellent music video. And do you have any album releases you're looking forward to in 2026? I know it's pretty early, but
Yeah, I mean, we've been in the studio, so there's gonna be like we have I think it's two or three songs on there that are on the record that aren't released that'll be coming out when the record drops. But I mean, that's been done. The record's been done for a while. So we are actively working on and actively have a roster of songs to be ready to get put out very, very soon. So,
and do you have any albums of other bands that you're looking forward to this year that are dropping?
yeah, I'm pretty sure Red Sun is dropping a record. They're from Oklahoma. They're awesome people and just really yeah, just really like just some of the best emo music coming out right now. I just really love them. I'm hoping some of my favorite bands are like Pool Kids and I hope they release something else. I don't know if they're releasing anything. I'm pretty sure Joyce Manor is releasing a record on the same day that we are. I'm pretty sure they are. Yes, yes, and I'm very excited to share a release date with Joyce Manor. They're awesome, and I got to see them for the first time last year at Fest, and it was one of the best sets I've ever seen. So I'm very excited to be able to share a release date with the goats for sure.
The Menzingers, I think, are releasing a new album as well later this year. I'm super excited for that. I'm a massive Menzingers fan.
Yes, yes. I had some coworkers who put me onto the Menzingers, and I was like, man, I've been slacking. I was like, I've been slacking. You listen, you know how you get that feeling? You're like, dang, this man been around this long and I ain't never gave him the time of day and I should have been given. Yeah, that's definitely how I felt about the Mid-Singers. I was like, you are slacking hard. I was like, why call yourself a musician?
That happens to me a lot. Just as the bands played Ireland, I'll be like, oh, this band's cool. Maybe they've come. Oh, thank you, Ireland. You were great. And I'm like, damn it, I just missed it.
You're like, oh, they was here. They here right now. Oh.
And I'll have to wait another 10 years for them to come over.
Yeah, no, I can't imagine. We are for the first time this year crossing into Canada.
Oh, wow.
And so we're playing Toronto on the Carly Cosgrove tour, which I'm really excited about. And then we're playing Pooza Fest in Montreal in May. And so, I mean, I've never even been outside of the country. I'm like actively getting a passport right now. So I am just like, whoo, I'm like, y'all wait. I was like, so many people are like, come to the UK, come to Ireland. Like, you have no idea how many people are constantly asking us. And I'm like, oh my gosh, y'all, I barely got a passport. But also, I don't even know I know how difficult it would be to get over there too. But I know that's definitely going to be in our cards, and it is something we absolutely want to do.
Well, if absolutely. You play Dublin, I'll be there front row and center.
Oh, yeah. Oh, we got you. We're going to guest list you and everything. You ain't even got to worry about that. That's, yeah.
And we're on to our last question. Do you have any advice for anyone wanting to start a band in 2026?
Stay true to yourself. And I really have a lot of emphasis on that because there's not a lot of things in this world you can control. I can't control how many people decide to listen to us. I can't control how many people decide to follow us or like our music or don't like our music. The one thing I can control is being the best person I possibly can be and staying grounded in that and staying true to that. And I think a lot of people are like, oh, well, I want to make noodly riffs because that's what's in, or I want to do this kind of thing because, shape shifting almost. And I think the best thing that has happened for this band is that we just wear our hearts on our sleeves, and I'm no better than any other person. I'm using my coupons. I'm trying to scrub together cash to get, it's like I'm an average person, and I love that. I think staying true just makes the noise of what can come, the noise and nuances of what can come with being in the entertainment world. It can kind of silence some of that. It's like putting on noise canceling headphones. It's like, okay, I'm still hearing stuff in here, but all of that extra, I'm not hearing anything else. And it keeps you focused. And I think I believe in karma, and I think good things happen to good people. Especially if those people decide to work hard and spread that as far and as wide as they can. So yeah, the number one thing for me is just being a good person and staying true to who you are and never letting anybody tell you. I mean, I know that our band is comprised of people of color, women, like we're a very diverse band. And it's like, it's very important for us to own that and be who we are and know that there's not going to be, if there's not a seat at the table, we're going to build a table and then build a chair and then pull that up to that table and sit there because we deserve it. And that's who we are. And we're going to wear that. And I think that it's very important also when it comes to shaping the future of the scene, like we were talking about earlier. Like, people need to see that women can get on stage and make emo music, and people of color, and that they own it and they're not afraid to do that. I think people can be afraid to do a lot of things and express themselves in that way. And I just think the world we live in desperately needs bold, brave, like, just out there, like, go after it, go get it. There's nothing that will stop you. I promise. Like, there's that journey might be a little bit harder to climb. It might be, but it'll be worth it. And I promise, like, somebody's going to see us and see that confidence, and that might get them to start the next greatest band. That's even bigger than us, surpasses us by miles. Who knows? I hope that can happen for somebody. I hope that we can be a band that encourages somebody to do that. But yeah, most importantly, just be bold in who you are and never let anything shake that.
That's really nice. Raegan, thank you so much for taking the time out your day to talk to me.
Yeah, thank you. It was awesome. And thank you to everybody who is going to be listening to this. And, it's been like from the band to everyone, like it's been an absolutely beautiful journey of doing this. And it's so awesome to have everybody a part of what we're trying to do, because we don't even call people like fans or anything like that. Like we really feel like people are part of our family, because it's a simultaneous thing. It's like we're bonding and we're building a bond over something so special. It's like we can't look at anybody like that. It's like, no, you are friends. Like we are friends, and we love each and every one who's given us the time of day, for sure. So thank you to everyone who ends up listening to this.
And check out Leisure Hour's album And to Think out the 30th of January.
I'm never gonna get out of this town, am I, boy? Is it anything you want, man? Yeah.
We're changing in the city where we grew up, feels complacent. But my mom keeps telling me it's in my head, and I don't care what she said. I'll lay in bed with a cigarette